Usually when people think of the 1974 Dodge Monaco, they think about this, the police car as the Bluesmobile in the 1980 smash hit, The Blues Brothers. But today we're going to talk about a different version of this car, which is this one, the 1974 Dodge Monaco two-door hardtop. I absolutely love the Blues Brothers. I'm here at my house and shop in Las Vegas, but I also have a car shop in Dallas, Texas. And we've made a lot of movie vehicles over the years, including 8 of these Bluesmobiles. There's one up on a pole in Joliet, Illinois on Route 66 that we did many years ago. And I just love the Blues Brothers, always have. I know every word to the movie. Heck, I even have the Blues Brothers sitting on my front porch. But I'm always searching for these Monacos, and while I was searching for one of these, I found that amazing two-door hardtop. It wasn't the car that I was looking for, but I fell in love with it. I think these cars are gorgeous, and they used them as utility cars, police cars, taxis, and anything else that they needed a tough car that could last. And that's why you saw them throughout the 70s and all the way into the 80s as these kinds of service vehicles. And here this car is, it's as old as me. What is this, 47, 48 years now? The car still runs and drives great. They made a lot of versions of the 1974 Dodge Monaco and its sister car, the Plymouth Fury 3. There was a lot of different configurations in this whole area here. Now this one, the Bluesmobile, is called the 4-door post because of this post that separates the doors. But they also did a version of this car as the 4-door hardtop where there is no post here. And they also did another version that had a vent window right here in this area. The more rare version is the one we're talking about today, which is the 1974 Dodge Monaco two-door hardtop. When both of the windows are up, this back window creates a seal that the front window rests against. This is how you create what we call the hardtop, because when you roll down both windows, you end up with this amazing giant opening. This is great, especially for the people in the back, but it creates a huge, huge wide window that you just don't see on cars today. And it's a unique look, and what attracted me to this car, it is so gangster. And there's so many different versions, as I've talked about, of this car. You know, with the 4-door, this door would be a little shorter, then you'd have a rear door here, and then you could also have the hardtop version of that, or the post, as we talked about, or a vent window. It's crazy the amount of versions of this car that there were. For instance, in the same model year, you had this style of headlights. You also had the Brougham versions with the flip-up, actuated, covered headlights. Then the Plymouth Fury 3 had slightly different bezels in the front. So I think that's 3 different front clips that they had for these different cars. Same thing with the back end. There was probably 3 different sets of taillights as well. Now I prefer these, the same ones that's on the Bluesmobile, the more standard versions. However, this car originally had the Brougham versions, and how they differed from these is the regular Monacos had the backup lights here in the middle of the taillights. The Brougham version was just red, had a seal crest here, and then this area would have been one large taillight section. But typically, the glass or the plastic is broken out of this. So we actually fabricated at my shop this cool little mesh grill cover. This is actually the where your fuel tank is filled. Little hidden gem there. I used to love that about old cars. They just don't do that anymore. But I think this is a nice clean look. Most people will agree. You'll notice my license plate there. In the state of Texas, if you have a registered antique, you can have the period plates on the vehicle. These are actually 1974 plates, and it also had RM on there, which is my initials, Robert Mosley. So I thought this is a great plate. Picked them up for 15 bucks at a flea market. You take them down to the DMV, and they'll let you put them on. So depending on what state you're in, you may be able to get plates like that for your car. But I really like the style of this thing. It's just so gangster. All right, let's talk a little bit about this car in particular, not so much about the history of the different model years of the 1974 Dodge Monaco and its variations. This car is for sale. I've had this car for about 7 years now, and every time I think about selling it, I take it for a drive and I talk myself out of it and I keep it. And in the last year, I've done a lot of work to it. This top, for instance, This is a new vinyl top that was just put in, and we did it at the same place that used to do all of the upholstery shop for our television show Screen Machines, American Sunroof and Upholstery in Dallas, Texas. They did a fantastic job. And before they got a hold of it, we made sure to go through the roof and make sure there wasn't any holes or rust or whatever. We went through and made the roof nice and solid because, again, this was my personal car. This is one car that isn't used for rentals or car shows or whatever. It was just a car that I loved, and it was for me. So I wanted it to be in top condition. Also had it painted. We just had this paint job put on about a year ago. Nice, simple black car, which was its original color, but the clear coat was beginning to fade, and I wanted it done. You know, this is a triple black car. Black top, black paint, black interior, also called a VX paint code, triple VX. Everything about it is black. That's what I love about it. That's why it's so sinister. Well, I'm pretty partial to black. If only we had some red worked into there. I also love the fact that it has the original wheels and Dodge Motor Division hubcaps. I'm just one of those guys. I hate it when I see people put these custom wheels on these old cars. What makes this thing so great is that it's, for the most part, completely stock, or at least looks that way. There's a couple of modifications we're going to show you that we did to the car. Some people are going to maybe disagree with, but it makes the car so much more livable because you got to be able to live in the car. This isn't the kind of car that is on a lot of collectors' lists. Most people are looking for the Bluesmobile. But as you fall in love with the Dodge Monaco, a car like this is something that you treasure because they are so rare, and you have probably never seen one of these in real life. Let's for a moment just marvel at the sheer girth of this door. You definitely want to leave a little space between you and the car that you're parking next to. I mean, that is, wow. What a door. Once inside, you're greeted by the standard interior of the 74 Dodge Monaco. I've seen these in the tan color like in the Bluesmobile, in blue, in green. Finding them in black like this, virtually impossible. There is a few cracks up on the dash. Unfortunately, that's kind of hard to avoid. But it's in relatively good condition. This little thing here, I put my cell phone in when I'm driving. I plug it in right there. Cell phone is used to record this video, so I can't really demonstrate that. Need to go get another phone for that. But we've done a little party trick with the radio, and I think you're gonna like this. This looks like a stock radio, but this is just a cover. This is something that I fabricated at my shop out of the original radio as just a cover, because what's really here is about a $2,000 Kenwood stereo system with Garmin, GPS, has phone adaptation, Bluetooth. I mean, this was the top of the line unit at the time that we put it in, and also infinity speakers all around. I can't really demonstrate it for you because, you know, how do you demonstrate a car radio? But let me just tell you that this is a fantastic stereo, and it's gone into automatic dimming mode. But anyway, so it's going to be virtually impossible to kind of show this on camera. I'll try to get some other shots of it. But you can Bluetooth to your phone, to your phone. It has Pandora. You can run your Sirius XM, phone calls. There's actually a hidden microphone up here in this other part. So you definitely have modern convenience with this car built right in. But when you park it, you don't want anybody to know what's in there. You just put this little cover in, and it just fits right into that space. And nobody is the wiser. We did have to relocate these vents down to where this ashtray used to go. So that might look a little weird to you, but it works because this used to be here with this smaller, kind of a den and a half radio. But I wanted to be able to have it have a stock look as much as possible. And I think it works. And by the way, yes, we did fix the cigarette lighter. This dash cluster features a 120 mile an hour speedometer. They made a couple of different versions of this one. This one is going to be hard to demonstrate. I'll see if I can get a cut-in photo later, but we put in some custom LEDs in here, so this lights up really well at night and looks fantastic. The odometer is showing 44,000 miles on it. I have no idea if those are the original miles or if it's 144. But considering the condition of the interior of this car it is quite possible that that is the original miles. However, I cannot attest to it. There's no way for me to know whether or not it's 144, 244, whatever. But it's my opinion that this car, being as old as it is, if it had more than that, this velour interior would be shot. I got to be honest. So it's my opinion. I think that that's the original miles, but I can't attest to that. All that matters is everything is in good working condition. You're listening to the soothing sound of the chronometer. This working mechanical electric clock works and keeps perfect time. The downside is it will run down your battery after about a week or two if you don't keep the car plugged in or disconnect the battery. But this clock works, and quite frankly, it's very loud. You're either going to find that to be absolutely amazing or it will annoy you. So if you want to disconnect it, you can. But I love the fact that when I climb in this car and it's dead quiet, I can hear the ticking of this clock just like in a Rolls Royce. Speed control or cruise control. This is a new old stock turn signal and controller. We replaced the whole clock spring and all the insides of this. This is all brand new and it works. You can set the cruise, the resume, the set, and it works fine. When I drove this car here from Dallas to Las Vegas, I had the cruise set and it performed flawlessly. We replaced the entire cruise control system, not just this component, but the drive unit in the engine. We'll have a look at that. The interior of this car is so plush. It has this amazing velour, and it's kind of color changing because as you brush it one way or the other, it's black, but as light hits it, it seems to kind of glow like silver, where it might look like it's faded, but really it's just the way the fabric is. Depending on how you look at it, whether or not it's in the sun or in the light or in the dark, it has this interesting color changing effect where it will go from a velvet black to a bit of a gray to a glowing silver. As you can see how the sun is shining on it and it looks different. The carpet is in fantastic shape. With the exception of those cracks up there, pretty much all the interior is in great shape. The headliner is fantastic in this car. Nice black, no tears or rips really of note. There's a few little nicks and scratches. The car isn't perfect. There might be a few little tears or something here and there, but they're very small and not noticeable to me. Sure, you could go through this thing with a fine-tooth comb and find imperfections. I'm not going to tell you the car is perfect. It is not a Concours car. It is a lovingly owned and driven car. But I love the split bench seats with the armrests. This was really a posh car in 1974, and this thing rides like, well, it rides like a Cadillac. It rides like a 70s boat. And if you're into that kind of thing like I am, well, wow, what a car. Okay, we're gonna do the Doug DeMuro test of getting in the back seat of a car. Now, I'm 6'2", I weigh about 220 pounds. I have size 13 feet. I'm a big boy. And, you know, I fit back here comfortably. If this guy would scoot his seat up just an inch, I'd be fine. But this is a pretty comfortable back seat. And quite frankly, this is the first time I've ever been in the back seat of this car. It's not so bad. Lots of headroom back here. If the window was down like this, what a ride. That would be great. I've never actually been back here. I have to be honest. I've never been in the back seat of this car. And I was just doing it for the video. But it's pleasantly comfortable back here. I don't think anyone has ever sat back here. We're looking at the seats, quite frankly. They don't look like anyone's ever sat back here. But there's a little button you push. You see on the side of that, the seat goes completely forward. So let's see how my big fat ass gets out. It's my feet that's the problem. They're huge. I deal with this every day. Okay. That wasn't so bad at all. Especially with that window down. Wow, that was great. I even have the original key fob from the factory, I guess. I don't know if that's completely original, but it says Chrysler on it, so I think that's real. Original keys. Okay, a look at the boot, the trunk. Huge. This is an original full-size spare. Just decided to keep it. It's an old like bias ply, original tire. Why not keep it? I put a nice like a rug back here just to keep it pretty. But the great thing about this car is its lack of rust. We've done a bunch of these Bluesmobiles in the past, right? And they're always rotted out behind these rear fenders here, and we always have to do extensive repair there. None of that with this car. Still has the original jacking instructions on the lid, factory black. It's in great shape. We also went through and added some groundings and things to the lights to make sure that they work really well. That's always kind of an issue with these cars because the lights would ground to the body and then they'd kind of twitch. So we just did everything we could because this was my personal car to make it as drivable and livable as possible. It could be really used as an everyday vehicle, and they were. Okay, let's get under the hood of this beast. Let's see, where's the little vat? Here it is. Okay, there we go. Now, let's have a look. Okay, over here is that cruise control drive unit we talked about. That's been replaced. Brand new Odyssey battery, you know those things are a couple $100. An MSD digital 6AL electronic ignition has been added. Here's a controller here, coil, distributor, all new plugs, wires. I want to say this kit was about $600 or $800. Went through and did some carburetor stuff here. We'll talk about that in just a second. 3-row, huge aluminum radiator, because I wanted to Vegas proof the car. Now what you can't see is not only do you have the mechanical fan, but there's also an electrical fan there that helps at low idle speeds. I want to pull this cover off here because I want you to have a look underneath. Now the thing is we've got an Edelbrock cover and an Edelbrock intake, but this is a Holley carburetor. I'm sorry, Edelbrock, I apologize, but I gotta say the Holley carburetors are so much better. This was a pretty expensive unit, and I'm trying to remember which model this is. Let me have a look. But just trust me that it runs really well. Let's see, because I don't know, I think it has a model number on it, but I know that we went through a couple of carburetors. We tried a Holley Demon. We've had the Edelbrocks on here. I just wasn't impressed with their carburetors. This Holley just performed better. Remember, this car originally came with a 2-barrel on this Chrysler 400. Yes, this is the 400 motor as listed in the description. And this particular Holley 4-barrel just seemed to work the best. All the different electronic things have been replaced, including the alternator, water pump, the power steering pump, this fan. Like, we just replaced everything, and I wanted to Vegas proof the car so that I could drive it here from Dallas and drive it through the desert heat. So when I brought it this summer, I drove this car all the way from Dallas, Texas to here in Las Vegas, hauling ass, going 70 miles an hour, 75, 80 miles an hour, had the cruise set, and this thing just drove beautifully. But I like this Edelbrock cover on here, and it seems to work in unison with it together. So great running car, and we'll fire it up for you again. Give it a little bit of a rev here. Nice idle. It's a good running car. I wouldn't hesitate to drive it anywhere in the country. Matter of fact, I did. I drove it, 1,300 miles from Dallas, Texas to here in Las Vegas. It's great. Just put a new power steering pump on it. Has a new alternator, water pump, new radiator, hoses, belts, wires, plugs. Brakes are great. Battery's great. Cruise is great. Listen, car's almost 50 years old, but I would drive this car anywhere in the country right now without hesitation. That's just me. I drive this car all the time. I just drove it out into the desert to take pictures out to Hoover Dam, and it was perfectly fine. Well, I think the only thing left to do is maybe take it for a ride. Hope you're nice and comfy back there. So, a couple years ago, I replaced the gas tank, brand new gas tank I put in this car. And I don't know what this person's doing. Get out of my driveway. So anyway, we replaced the gas tank. The fuel gauge is not working because I can hear the little leveler arm bouncing around in the tank. which means you're gonna have to drop the tank again, put that little arm back in order to fix that. So just gonna have to live without it. I don't usually go that far, and I fill it up, and it's got a pretty good range. So that's one of the gauges that doesn't work, but everything else works. This thing has a great sound. Once it, you know, that woo, that noise that you can only get out of a real V8. And this is the 400. This car came with either a 360, the smaller version, the 400, or the 440, which everybody wants the 440. And if it was the 440, I'd be asking a lot more for it than I am. But it's just a great everyday, cool car show kind of car. It's very gangster. Cruise control works. Just put that on, press the button, and there's my foot not driving up a hill. Cruise works fantastic. Brand new cruise control system, new old stock. We replaced the stalk and the entire drive unit, and works great. So are the brakes. There's certain charming things about the car that I love, like for instance the fender mounted turn signal indicators. I don't know if those can be seen on the camera view that you have there. I love that sound. Doesn't have much trouble getting up to about 80. Does that pretty easy. Whether you're a Blues Brothers fan, a Mopar fan, or you are interested in buying this car, it is for sale, and the link to its sale is in the video description below. If you like content like this and you're interested to see more on my Bluesmobiles and the other cars that we make, like the Back to the Future DeLorean Time Machine and Ghostbusters, Knight Rider, and all that other cool stuff, you might want to subscribe. Go check out the other videos of my channel that gone back for years, and you can see some of the other cool stuff that we've done. As I said, this car's for sale. It could be yours. I've got about 25 cars in my collection, and I need to start thinning them out, and I'm hoping that this car will go to a home. Maybe you're a Blues Brothers fan, but maybe you're not going to have an actual Bluesmobile. We thought about turning it into a Bluesmobile. Trust me, the thought crossed our minds. But this thing is so rare, it's so beautiful, and it's so original that I wanted to do minimal modifications to it, just the things to make it livable and usable. This is an everyday driver car. This is not just a garage queen. This is something you can drive coast to coast in. It runs great, it looks great, and I really hope that somebody who loves this car and appreciates it gets it. Hey, thanks for spending a little time with me on this beautiful sunny Sunday here in my home in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Video Bob from Bob's Prop Shop. Check us out if you love this stuff. See you in the next video, guys. Good luck.